Greetings from sunny Spain, everybody. We've heard the weather back home's been a little bit rubbish, so we thought we'd send you some sunshine. We put a blog post out a couple of weeks ago. Jay's got a new gimbally toy. You going to demonstrate your gimbally toy, Jay? Ooh, look at it move. So our videos will be a lot smoother and more professional looking, apparently. And when the blog post went out, we asked for any ideas for videos. And Glenn got in touch with a few ideas for us, which was a new look around the van, because it's been a while, and anything we've changed. I can't think of anything we've changed, but I'm sure we've changed stuff, so I'm going to give you a new tour around the van, and as we come up to things, I'll go, oh, that's changed. And also, we're on a campsite at the moment, as you might notice. We've got the laundry out, washing out. So we're on this campsite over the winter. So I'd also talk you through what we do differently when we're on a campsite compared to when we're touring and wild camping. Okay, let's get started. So I guess the first big upgrade for me for campsite life is a nice reclining lounger. Normally we have the fold away camping chairs, which Jay's still using and sitting on at the moment. This thing, it doesn't actually fit anywhere in the storage in the van underneath. We did have it sitting behind the seats for a while, but kept smacking into it. But Jay kindly let me put it on the bike rack, because the bike rack's designed for 3 bikes and we've only got 2. So this sits on our bike rack while we travel. The other things I guess that we do a bit differently on campsite life, we'll have the silver screens on the front of the van every night. They keep us insulated inside the van. It keeps it a little bit warmer because obviously the drop down bed is next to the windscreen, so we sleep with the silver screens on and without the front blinds across, because they do rattle and make quite a lot of noise. If we're wild camping, we don't have the silver screens on in case we have to skedaddle at any point in the night. But while we're on the safety of a campsite, it's silver screens every night and a nice snug quiet night's sleep. The bikes are off, just sitting over there waiting for us to take them to the supermarket, and we're permanently hooked up. So we haven't actually used any gas since we got here, and I'll talk you through how when we get inside. So let's go in. So now we're inside. Here's what we do a bit differently in the kitchen when we're on a campsite and we're on hookup. The reason we haven't used any gas, the fridge is running off the electric, and we use our electric hot plate, plugs in up here to cook. We're getting experts at one potters. And we did have an electric travel kettle, but it died. So we now just put our hob kettle on the electric hot plate for the hot water. It takes a bit longer, but hey, we've got the time. I don't think anything's really changed much in the kitchen. We've got coffee, tea, stuff like that in there, along with the mugs, because it's really annoying having to open 2 cupboards to get your mugs and your coffee out. Plates, bits of bread, crockery cooker in there, stands to hold them in. We have lots of hooks up here, which in the current pandemic are very handy for holding your keys and your face masks so you don't forget them when you leave. And I think that's about it in here. But those, oh, over here, I don't know if you can see this, we wanted somewhere to put our kitchen roll, so Jay bought some really sturdy wire and just used that on the pegboard. People are often asking what you put on these pegboards. These 2 were already with it. We don't know what to use that one for, but yeah, we've created a little kitchen roll holder there. Okay, so Zagan, the name of our motorhome, is a Hymer B544. It's a 2001 model. Anybody else who's got this model will also have the pole dancing pole and not be really sure what to do with it. We found it's quite good for hanging bananas on, because you know you need to keep them away from your other fruit, and obviously your Hawaiian garland and the odd tea towel. There's a sort of move around thing here that we've just stuck a bowl in for our fruit. And the other change we've made here, well, there's a clip down under here for oven gloves, keeps them handy but out of the way, and also a bin. So we used to have a bin underneath the sink. It was a bit of a pain. The dog would quite happily get his nose in there given half the chance. So we looked around for a wall mounted bin, couldn't find one that wasn't ridiculously expensive, so ended up with a bag which we can take straight down to the, it's lined with a bag, take it straight down to the bin and shove our recycling in it as well. onto the smallest and only room in the van. There's not much you can really change in the bathroom. We've got a pole added here. It's just extendable thing, so you can hang bits and pieces to dry if you're not anywhere that you can hang washing out. We've also got hooks and added little suction hooks around. All our towels have got loops on them, so if it's damp outside, you can just hook them up and they'll dry in the bathroom. And that's about it. Oh, hang on, nearly forgot. I've also got a little florist spray bottle. It's got pink liquid, Motorhome pink, because our toilet flushes straight off the main tank. So this has got Motorhome pink and water in it to dilute and just give this bowl a little spray around to keep it smelling fresh. Okay, so we're on to sort of entertainment area. So most motorhomes have got a lovely cupboard that you keep your TV in, but that's when the TVs used to be big. TVs are now quite flat. So ours is mounted here. We're running it on an Amazon Fire Stick at the moment. We have got a satellite system which is up here, but it doesn't reach, the signal doesn't reach this far down into Spain. So we've got the Amazon Fire Stick. In the wardrobe we've got a little MiFi unit which connects to an aerial on the top. We've got a SIM card, a UK SIM card in the MiFi unit, which gives us UK TV through the Amazon Fire Stick. The wardrobe itself we've shelved out. So shoes at the bottom, Jay's shelf, my shelf, and then laundry and booze shelf. And this is the laundry bag. When the laundry bag gets too full and you can't reach the booze or drinks, it's time to do the laundry. It's our little indicator there. And then in this cupboard, it's got a shelf in it already. We didn't shelf it out. Just keep DVDs, chargers, things in boxes, makes them just easier to access. And the TV's plugged in permanently to the 12-volt system up there. So we've had a little switch round. I'm now up at the front, and generally when we're on the campsite, this area just becomes storage because this seat's permanently turned round. I'll lie here to watch the telly. Jay sits here to watch the telly. This is just one of our pillows. We used to have a big cushion, and why are we carrying around a cushion when we just use our normal pillows? So while we're on the campsite, we have a little fan heater that we just have plugged into the mains down here. This goes on very low overnight and just kicks in. It's a little bit noisy. We used to have a halogen one as well, which was a lot quieter, but that finally died and we've got used to this now. So we have this going, and down here is our charging station. I don't know if you can see, there is a plethora of plugs and cables on a multi-gang socket. When we're on campsite, that's plugged into the mains. When we're not, it's plugged into an inverter, which is just around here underneath the seat next to the batteries. So we've got power supply to charge up laptops and phones and everything, no matter where we are. Okay, another thing that we kind of do a little bit differently, I don't know, most people tend to drink out of their water tanks. We don't. We'll use the water in the tank for brushing our teeth, washing the pots, drinking drinks that have been boiled. Anything else, we just fill up one of these at the water station on the campsite or wherever we are. Partly because our tank's 20 years old now and we don't really trust it, even though we've cleaned it. When we clean it, you still tastes a bit funny. And also with these, you get a good look at the water before you drink it. You can just have a little eyeball of it, especially if you're getting it from some sort of a dodgy water source. Speaking of water, cupboards. This cupboard up here, it had a little leak in it a while back and water came in. This is where we used to store our electronics, so laptops and things would be in there overnight. Jay's been up on the roof and siliconed everything, so this is just a massive silicon. It hasn't leaked since, touch wood. So we've moved the electronics as a precautionary measure, and now in here is snacks. It's quite handy to get to if you're watching the telly. Our 544 has a little bit of an unusual layout. Normally it's a dinette here, so 2 benches and a table, and in our previous 544 under that bench was the water tank. Because we've got an Alco chassis, we've got our water tank under the floor and our wastewater tanks under the floor, which just means the areas under both benches are storage. Loads of storage. Actually more storage than we can deal with. I'll just drop down and give you a little look under one of them. So we bought these plasticky boxes so that we can just throw our trainers in if they're a bit damp or whatever, and also it just makes it easy to find stuff. So under this one we've got stuff that we use quite a lot. Things, trainers, cycle helmets, rucksacks, a Ramoska for cooking. So they all sit under this bench. Under the bench on this side is stuff that we don't use quite so much. So there's overflow toiletries, so you've got your extra shampoo and conditioners, bits of food. We actually used to call this the bench of requirements because I actually stacked it full when we went to Morocco and Norway of food, so that we never ran out. We always, oh, what should we have for tea? Let's see what's in the bench of requirements. And then the little bench in the back corner, we have things that we use very infrequently because it's quite a pain. You have to get the big corner cushion out to get access into it. So it's got our wetsuits in there, it's got spare bedding in there, and that's about it, I think. Oh, the floor. We took out the carpets when we had our dog, Charlie, because he liked to fur up the carpets, but the lino itself is a little bit cold and uninviting. Very cheap rug from IKEA. We can just take it out, bat it around a bit, clean it. We've got the Hoover under this bench. So yeah, it's just a bit nicer underfoot, and it makes it a little bit more homely. If you're not familiar with Hymers, you might be wondering where the bed is. A lot of vans you'd make up this area into a bed, not us. Keep it up here. This pulls out into a single bed, just slides out and the cushion drops down. But the double bed, we just drop these seats forward and pull it down. So as you can see, we're actually sleeping in the cab area. So this is why we use the silver screens, which are thermal external covers, just because this is single glazed glass, so it can get quite chilly up here, and the pulling across blinds can get quite noisy. We keep all our bedding on here apart from cushion pillow, and just drop it down. We have generally a sleeping bag or two and a duvet, umpteen pillows. Makes for a very nice cosy night's sleep. To get in, it does come with a ladder, but we ditched the ladder. There's not much point, we're still young. Just hop in. So the upside of having a drop down bed is you still have all this space available to you, so someone can lie and watch telly or sit and have something to eat. If someone's poorly and they need to take to their bed, you've still got the whole van with access to the toilet and the kitchen. The downsides, not a massive amount of headroom, especially when you're on the inside because it slopes down here. I mentioned the rustly blinds, and I guess the main thing is whoever's on the inside has to climb over whoever is on the outside to get out. When the weather is hot, it gets hot. When the weather is cold, it can get cold.
It's a little bit about, because it's lovely weather here, you can cook and eat outside, which most people do, I think, on the campsite, do that quite a bit. So we used to have a Kadak, which is a gas barbecue. The van's got an external gas point here, which is connected up to the LPG tanks that we've got. So that's the obvious thing to do, really, because otherwise you end up using something like this, which we've it's just like a cheap sort of gas stove that we've got that uses these cartridges. They cost a bomb compared to the normal gas. So why we've ended up with this, mainly because we were doing quite a lot of free camping, so having a gas barbecue stood on a tripod sort of next to the van was quite difficult when you're in airs and car parks and stuff. But with something like that, you can just, it's sort of like a suitcase thing that you just carry it off and put it on a picnic bench or a rock or something and cook with it. And that, to be honest, because we don't do it that much cooking outside with gas, we just use that. I think if we're going to spend a lot of time on campsites in the future, we get a Kadak again and use that off the external gas barbecue point. The other thing that's pretty handy with this van is that it's got a 230 volt socket that the previous owners have had fitted to it, which means that we can use something like our Ramoska, which is, because we haven't got an oven in the van, you can use this for baking. So basically the top part of it gets really hot, and then you can bake stuff like potatoes and vegetables and stuff like that in the inside the bottom part of it. There you go. That's what we're using to cook outside. We can bring the hot plate out as well, so we can use that to cook outside as well. So one of the things, being on a Spanish campsite, well, down on the Costa del Sol here, so it's pretty dry. Even in January and February, we've only had a few days of rain, so the ground they don't tend to have grass on the campsite, so a nice rug. We've got this great big plastic thing that some friends gave to us, which makes it more comfortable to come outside and walk about outside. Which we've got weighed down with stones because the wind does get up a little bit sometimes. With the wind getting up, I don't know if you can see them, we've got steady legs down, so if we're staying somewhere for a while, we've got these legs that are underneath the van. They do extend, but I've stuck a rock underneath it because I couldn't be bothered to extend it down. So that makes the van nice and stable. The handbrake is off because the last time we left it on ramps like this for a long time, it seized up the brakes on one of the back wheels, so it's now chocked on the other side. And all the stuff we've got to say, we don't tend to use the awning very much, but quite a few folks have got the awning out and they've got like a safari room to extend this little space outside the van, but we haven't really bothered with that much. We've got this table here that we've had for at least 10 years, and that kind of does us with a couple of seats, and yeah, that's it really, so we can sit outside nice and comfortable. So the grey water, to save us having to move down to the drain, we've just got a bucket or just a bowl that we just use. So most of the time the tap's closed, so that I don't have to come out and check whether that's filling up. It's got a slight leak on it as well, so just leave that under there. And the fresh water, normal filler place, and we've got a tap just here with a hose pipe on. So that means I can wash the van diligently every week. Washed it twice in about 2 years. So yeah, so that's it really. So we just use the water that's in there. We're taking showers down in the shower block, which is there's hardly ever anybody in there. So, and it's got plenty of that alcohol sanitizer stuff. So that feels nice and safe to be down there, and you can get a nice hot shower. If we're not on a campsite, we'll use the shower in the van almost all of the time. Unless we're like I say, if we're on a campsite and paying for it. So we have to wear masks outside in Spain because of the old COVID, but this is kind of the limit here, so we don't have to wear a mask. Any further than that, all the rest of the campsite, everyone's walking around with a mask. So this is our area with some nice banana plants and other exotic stuff. There's lots of lovely foliage, and that is probably the most disguised Elson point in the world. So that's pretty handy. So that's just where we just empty our grey water in the loo. We can just do that, and it's like a normal toilet with water in. So there's no nasty niffs, and it's all nice and convenient really.
Okay, so that was a little look around our Hymer B544, and hopefully it's answered all your questions, or any questions you did have. If it hasn't, drop us a line, put a comment in, or get in touch. Julie and Jason at OurTour.co.uk.